Walk into any serious steakhouse, and this is the dish they guard with pride. Ultra-tender fillet, wrapped in a dense, earthy mushroom layer, sealed in a crêpe, coated with prosciutto, and armored in golden pastry. This is Beef Wellington. Most people fear this recipe. Today you're going to own it. Here's our beef fillet, from the head to the start of the tail. It's already cleaned of excess fat and silver skin. For a proper Wellington, we only want the heart of the tenderloin. This piece is about 2.2 pounds or roughly 1 kilogram. We trim away the thinner ends until we're left with a cylinder that's as even as possible from tip to tip. That's your money piece. Once the shape is right, we take care of flavor. Salt the fillet generously on all sides and let it rest for at least 2 hours. That's not downtime, it's chemistry. Through osmosis, the salt pulls juice to the surface. Then everything is slowly reabsorbed back into the meat, seasoned all the way through. The rookie mistake? Salting and going straight to the pan. The juice ends up in the skillet instead of in the beef, and your sear is weak and wet. Our chateaubriand is salted, so it goes down for a 2-hour nap. While it rests, we build the armor that will protect our puff pastry. Let's make the crêpe layer. It's a moisture shield and a flavor layer in one. For the batter, flour, a pinch of salt, a touch of sugar, and milk. We add the milk gradually, whisking each time so any clumps are broken up before we add more liquid. Zip it if you need to. We add the eggs, and some butter. Once everything is perfectly smooth, we strain the butter. Even if you think you mixed it well, there are always tiny lumps hiding in there, and we want a perfectly silky crêpe. The batter rests for a few minutes while we preheat the oven, 400 Fahrenheit, 200 Celsius static. Inside the oven, we have already placed a non-stick baking tray to heat for about 10 minutes. Why the hot tray? Because for a Wellington, we want a rectangular crêpe that matches the length of our fillet. If you use a round pan, you'll need to overlap multiple crêpes. This way, one thin, even sheet does the job. Pour in just enough batter to form a very thin layer. Tilt if you need to. And then straight into the oven. No flipping. When the edges start pulling away from the tray, it's done. Thin, flexible, and dry enough to keep the pastry crisp. Our fillet fits in 4 times. That's exactly what we want. Next layer, mushrooms and truffle. The umami intensifier. Wrapped around the meat. We finally chop common button mushrooms. Moving on to shallots and parsley. Butter in the pan. A quick sauté. Then we combine that with the rest of the raw chopped mushrooms. Divide everything between 2 baking trays. Drizzle with olive oil. Mix well. And into the oven at 350 Fahrenheit, 180 Celsius. Fan. The goal here is simple. We want to remove some of the water, not the flavor. However, we must accept a trade-off. The drier the mushrooms, the fewer air pockets we'll have in the final bake. But the less tasty they will be because the flavor is also in the water. We take them up a notch with a hit of truffle-infused paste. Optional, yes, but amazing. Time to sear the fillet with a ripping hot carbon steel pan and a high smoke point oil or clarified butter. Once the crust is right, we deglaze with a shot of cognac. Stand back everyone, this pan is scorching hot, and flames are part of the show. Those brown bits and juices in the pan? Gold! We combine them later with a fondbras, a brown stock made from roasted bones and meat, to build a demi-glace that will finish the dish. Time to assemble our Wellington. We trim our crêpe to size, so it's just a bit wider than the circumference of the fillet. On top of the crêpe, we lay down a tight blanket of prosciutto di Parma. Over that, we spread our mushroom truffle Duxelles in an even layer. Traditionally, Dijon mustard is brushed onto the fillet before wrapping it. But since we're using truffle, we're skipping that step. We place the Sear fillet in the center and use the crêpe to roll everything up into a tight log. This step is critical. Once it's tight, the roll goes into the fridge for about 30 minutes to rest and firm up. Time for the final armor, puff pastry. If you want the maximum bragging rights, make the laminated puff pastry at home the day before. Otherwise, buy a quality puff pastry from a bakery that makes it fresh, large enough to wrap the entire log in one piece. We brush the inside of the pastry with an egg wash made from yolks and cream. Keep everything tight, trim, and seal the seams carefully using a fork on the edges. Any extra pastry gets folded under the log, giving the Wellington a clean, rounded shape and a nice base. Another full coat of egg wash on the outside primes it for maximum gloss in the oven. For decoration, we're going classic, a pastry net that wraps over the top like a lattice of armor. The tool we're using here is linked in the description, but you can also score the pastry with a knife if you prefer. Once the lettuce is on, we give it one more light pass of egg wash, and the Wellington is ready to bake. Use a thermometer. For a cut like this, guessing is not a strategy. Into the oven it goes, 200 Celsius, 400 Fahrenheit for about 20-25 minutes. Time and temperature are guidelines, not handcuffs. Watch the pastry. It should be deeply golden and crisp, not pale. Inside we're aiming for about 48 Celsius, 118 Fahrenheit at the center for a perfect medium rare. Don't overcook it. If someone at the table insists on more doneness, you can always put their slices back in the oven for a minute or two. We let it rest briefly, carry over the temperature a few more degrees, then we slice it. A uniform rosy core of beef. The pastry tight and crisp and zero leaks. No soggy bottom. Isn't this an absolute thing of beauty? On the plate goes that glossy demi-glace. Then we place a slice of imperial beef. Try it, own it, and tell us in the comments how your Beef Wellington turned out. Hit like, hype, and subscribe. We're just getting started.